The house was worth more than most people's dreams. Tall iron gates guarded it like silent soldiers. Marble floors reflected chandeliers so bright they looked like frozen sunlight. Every corner whispered wealth, paintings imported from Europe, furniture carved by hands that charged fortunes for a single chair. Yet inside that mansion, there was no laughter, only the low hum of machines, and the steady, aching silence of grief. Adrian Cole, a self-made millionaire, stood alone in his private office as night pressed against the glass walls. The city lights below sparkled like stars, but none of them reached his eyes. His gaze was fixed on a wall of screens, live camera feeds from every corner of the house. He hadn't installed them for luxury, he had installed them out of fear. 5 years earlier, Adrian had lost everything that truly mattered in one rainy night. His wife, Elena, the woman who once filled this cold mansion with warmth, had died in a car accident. Their daughter, Lily, who had been sitting in the back seat humming to herself, survived, but the accident shattered her spine. She was 8 years old when she woke up in the hospital and couldn't feel her legs. Adrian still remembered her voice that morning. "Daddy, why can't I move?" That question never stopped echoing. Money could buy the best doctors, the most advanced equipment, private nurses, therapists flown in from different countries, but it couldn't give Lily back her legs. And after Elena's death, Adrian's heart locked itself shut. He became a man who trusted no one, especially not strangers around his daughter. That was why the cameras existed, not to spy.to protect. Lily lived in a sunlit room on the second floor, specially designed for her wheelchair. The walls were painted soft sky blue. A large window faced the garden where flowers bloomed year-round, though Lily rarely looked at them anymore. Once, she had loved running through grass barefoot. Now, she watched life from behind glass. Adrian had hired and fired dozens of caregivers over the years. Some were careless. Some were impatient. Some saw Lily as a task, not a child. Each time Adrian noticed even the slightest lack of kindness on the cameras, they were gone by morning. Then one day, the agency sent someone different. Her name was Maya. She arrived quietly, wearing a simple uniform, her hair tied back neatly. She didn't talk much during the interview. She didn't boast about experience or beg for the job. She simply said, "I will take care of her as if she were my own." Adrian had heard lines like that before. Still, he hired her. From the very first day, Maya moved gently around Lily. She spoke softly, never rushing her. She knelt to Lily's eye level when she talked, as if Lily wasn't someone to be looked down on. But Lily didn't respond. She barely spoke to anyone anymore. The accident had taken her legs, but grief had taken her voice. Weeks passed. Adrian watched the cameras every night. He expected to find something wrong: impatience, shortcuts, irritation, but he didn't. He saw Maya brushing Lily's hair slowly, humming an old lullaby. He saw her read books aloud even when Lily didn't answer. He saw her sit quietly beside Lily during long afternoons, not forcing conversation, just being there. Still, Adrian remained distant. Kindness, he believed, always came with an expiration date. One evening, as rain tapped softly against the windows, Adrian watched a camera feed that made him pause. Maya had wheeled Lily into the garden. That alone was unusual. Lily rarely agreed to go outside. The garden was glowing under small string lights. Maya parked the wheelchair beneath a tree and knelt in front of Lily. "Do you remember how the wind feels?" Maya asked gently. Lily didn't answer. Maya didn't push. She simply held Lily's hand and closed her eyes, letting the breeze brush her face. "Sometimes," Maya said softly, "I close my eyes and pretend I'm running again." Lily's fingers twitched. Adrian leaned closer to the screen. That night, Lily spoke for the first time in months. "I don't remember," she whispered. "I don't remember running." Maya didn't cry. She didn't gasp. She didn't rush to celebrate. She just said, "Then we'll imagine it together." From that night on, something began to change. Lily started waiting for Maya. She smiled more. She asked questions. Sometimes, she laughed, a small, fragile sound that made Adrian's chest tighten painfully every time he heard it through the speakers. But Adrian still watched, always watched, until the night that changed everything. It was late. The mansion was quiet. Adrian couldn't sleep, as usual. He sat in front of the screens, scrolling absent-mindedly through feeds. Then he noticed movement in Lily's room. It was past midnight. Maya was there. Adrian's heart immediately raced. He leaned forward, eyes narrowing. Why was the maid in his daughter's room so late? On the screen, Lily was awake. Tears streamed silently down her cheeks. Her body trembled as if she were holding something in for too long. Maya sat beside her bed. "I had the dream again," Lily sobbed. "I was running, and then I fell. And Mommy was calling me but I couldn't get up." Adrian's throat tightened. Maya gently pulled Lily into her arms. I know, she whispered. I have that dream too. Lily looked up at her, surprised. You do? Maya nodded. Her voice cracked. My little sister, she was paralyzed too. An illness when she was young. I used to tell her stories every night, about places we'd go when she could walk again. Adrian froze. This was the first time Maya had ever spoken about herself. She didn't make it, Maya continued softly. But every time I look at you, Lily, I see her. And I promise you, your life doesn't end here. Lily clutched Maya's uniform tightly. But I'm broken, she whispered. Maya shook her head. No. You're hurting. That's different. Then Maya did something Adrian never expected. She placed Lily gently back in bed, turned off the lights, and lay down on the floor beside her. I'll stay right here, Maya said. So you don't have to be afraid. Adrian felt his vision blur. For 5 years, he had surrounded his daughter with protection, money, walls, cameras, but not once had he stayed on the floor beside her in the dark that night. Adrian didn't sleep. The next morning, he called Maya into his office. She stood nervously, hands folded, eyes downcast. I know about last night, Adrian said coldly. Maya's face went pale. I'm sorry if I crossed. Why? He interrupted. Why do you care so much? Maya swallowed hard. Because no child should feel alone in the dark. Silence filled the room. Adrian stood up slowly. His voice broke. I installed those cameras because I was terrified of losing her too. Maya looked up, eyes shining. And I stayed, she said softly, because she's still here. Adrian removed his glasses, wiping his eyes like a man who had finally run out of strength. From that day on, the cameras remained, but Adrian watched less. He spent more time in Lily's room. He listened. He sat on the floor. Months later, Lily began intensive therapy again, not because she was promised miracles, but because she believed her life still mattered. She didn't walk, but she lived, and on a quiet evening in the garden, Lily looked up at her father and said, Daddy, can Maya stay forever? Adrian smiled through tears. Yes, he said. She already belongs here. The mansion still stood tall and silent to the outside world.